In this video, I will cover what all hardware is needed for your Pi, how to flash the image provided on the website to the Pi's SD card, how to connect to your Pi remotely from your PC or laptop, how to install Lambot onto the Pi, how to input your license key and create an API key on Bybit, and lastly, an overview of the UI before starting Lambot. So to start with, to make the Linux download, we're going to need the Pi and the appropriate hardware. So you'll need to go to this URL here. Once you make it to this web page, you can scroll down to the bottom here, and it will show some Raspberry Pi approved resellers, and you can click on CanaKit. This is the one that I personally have. I have the starter kit here, and so what all is included in this starter kit is the Pi itself, a case for the Pi, micro SD card, the SD card USB adapter, and a power supply. Now once you have the Pi and the appropriate hardware, you can go back to your Lambot account on the website. Once you're logged in, go to Account and My Downloads. From the Downloads page, you will see there is a Linux operating system image. So this image has the operating system for Linux, and it also has the VNC Viewer software, which is going to be used so that you can actually view your Pi from your desktop or laptop. So what we'll need to do is go ahead and download this on your laptop or PC. So click here, and I'm going to save it into my Downloads folder. You'll see that downloading right here. So while that's doing that, what we're going to do is go back to the Raspberry Pi website. And now that we're back at the page where the Raspberry Pi 4 is, we can scroll back down to where we clicked on CanaKit, and you look up right here, it says you will need, and there's a Raspberry Pi imager link. So you can click this right here because we're going to have to download this imager. And we'll download this for Windows, assuming you're on Windows. If you're on Mac, you can download that using that link there, but I'm on Windows, so I'm going to click that now. Then you will get asked where to save. I'm going to save it in the Downloads folder. You'll see it loading down here in the bottom left. We can open when done right here. You'll get a pop-up like this and just click yes. Then we can click Install and Finish. Now that your Raspberry Pi imager is open and the image has finished downloading, you can go to Choose Operating System here. It'll be a Use Custom. Now I'll go to where the image was saved and click that and open, and you'll see it in here. And I'll want to choose the storage, and this is where we need to plug our SD card into our USB adapter and put that into our PC or laptop that we're doing this on, so that we can flash this operating system onto that micro SD card. And once you have the USB adapter with the micro SD card inserted into your PC or laptop, go to Choose Storage, and you should see it right here. You can see I have a 32 gigabyte micro SD card. I will select that, and then we'll come down here to the cog icon. Now from this menu, you will need to enable SSH. You can set your username and password here. The default username is Pi, and then you can set a password. Once you have a password enter, you can click Configure Wireless LAN. So this is where you would put your ID in for your modem that you use for your wireless internet at your home. So mine already detected that this is the ID of my internet, and I can put the password in that's associated with your wireless modem as well. Once that is input, you can scroll down here and we'll select the country, the land country. Then you can set your local settings to make sure you have the right time zone. So that is the time zone that I'm in, and my keyboard layout is US. You can select from different layouts. And then scroll down to persistent settings, and then you can check all of these right here, and then just click save. Now we're ready to write, so I'll just click this button here. Now it is writing that operating system image onto our micro SD card, and when it is done, you'll get a pop-up that says you can remove the SD card from the reader. So you can just click continue here and remove the USB adapter with your SD card from your computer. Take the SD card and put it into your Pi, and plug your Pi into a convenient power outlet. So now that the SD card is in your Pi and your Pi is connected to power, you will need to go to realvnc.com, and when you get to this web page, you can download VNC Viewer for whatever operating system that you're using to want to connect to your Pi. So in my case, I'm using Windows, so I'm going to download the VNC Viewer. I'm going to save that in my downloads. Once it's done downloading down here, I'm just going to click open. It will ask what language, just select English, then you'll have to go through the setup. Just click next, I accept, next, next, install. And once it is done, you can click finish. Now that it is downloaded, I will go down here and find VNC Viewer. click on the app so we can open it. So now that the VNC viewer is open, what we're essentially doing is connecting remotely to our Pi from our laptop or PC that we have VNC viewer on here. And so what we're going to need to do is put in the generic host name. That was when we set up the SD card earlier. Our generic host name is Raspberry Pi, and we will hit enter. So what that will do is connect to any Raspberry Pi host name on your network. You might get a pop-up like this. Just click continue. Now this is where we're going to have to enter the password that we made. So the generic username was Pi, if you remember from the setup, and then whatever password that you entered in the setup. Once you have that password entered, you can check remember password, so you won't have to do that again, and then just click OK. If your credentials were correct, then you should be logged into your Raspberry Pi remotely from your desktop, PC, or laptop. You can see the desktop view of our Raspberry Pi. So we can maximize the screen right here. And so what we're going to need to do now is go to the browser here on the Pi. From the browser, we're going to go to the Lambot website and log in. Now that you're logged in, go to your account drop-down and My Downloads. And what we'll want to do is download the current version of Lambot, the Linux version. Click Linux. You might get a pop-up like this. Just select Keep. Once that is done downloading, you'll need to open a terminal by clicking this icon right here. When the terminal is open, type in lowercase cd uppercase D downloads, hit enter, then type lowercase ls space minus lowercase l, then type in the command lowercase sh space period backslash lowercase lambot dash 0.3.1 dash setup dot sh, and hit enter. What this is doing is just unpacking the executable file of Lambot. Okay, now that that is done, you should be able to go to your Raspberry Pi symbol up here, go down to accessories, and you will see Lambot right here. We can click that. After about 20 to 30 seconds, you should get the first settings menu for Lambot, and it'll ask you to input your license key. So you'll have to go back to the browser within Pi, go to your account and go to your keys. You can scroll down to where you have your licenses and just copy your license key. Open the settings menu back up for Lambot and paste that in with Control V, and then you can click save. After another 20 or 30 seconds, you will be on your next settings pop-up here, where we'll need to put an API key in for Bybit. We'll need to go to the Bybit website and get that API key. Now once you're logged into your Bybit account, go to your little profile icon, go down to API. What we'll want to do is create a new API key right here. We'll type the name of it in as Lambot. We want it to be read and write because we want it to trade for us, and it's going to be contract, orders, and positions checked, and everything else left blank. And then you can specify an IP, but I would recommend only doing all IPs, and click submit. You have to enter your 2FA if you have that enabled, and you'll have your API keys. So we can copy this by clicking this icon right here for the API key. You can paste that in here with Control V. Then we'll go back for the secret key by copying that here and pasting that in here with Control V. Then we can click save. And you will see that it is actually connected to your Bybit account now, because it should show the balance that you have in your Bybit account, which in my case I have about $80 worth of Bitcoin. And another way to know that it is connected is by this green light down here showing next to Bybit mainnet. If for whatever reason you need to change to a different API key, you can go over here and click the settings button. Also from the settings menu, you can see my license key and how much longer it has until it expires. Since I only paid for a month, it will show when it expires here in 1 month. Now to go over to the Bybit Trader plugin, you can see your API key again, and it also shows when the API key expires with Bybit, when you'll have to go back in and renew it. So let's go ahead and close this out, and I'll give you a brief overview of the UI, and we'll go ahead and start the bot. So if we start up here in the top left, you can see this icon that will bring this out so you can see what everything is. So we're on the auto trader currently running the flow strategy. As more features become available, they'll be down below here, so like the copy trader. And then the settings is what we just opened, so if you want to minimize this back, just click here. Along the top you can see the Bitcoin and Ethereum price. These are the two assets that we currently run flow strategy on, so that's why they're up here. We also have a trading view plugin, so you can treat this like just about like any trading view chart that you would have on trading view. So you can maneuver things around. You have a watch list, you can get rid of that. All your trading tools here, and even some indicators down here at the bottom, it will show any trades that have been taken and any trades that are open during the session. And going back up to the top right, you can see our account balance like I had mentioned before, so that shows my account balance in Bitcoin and what the USD value of that is and how much it has changed in percent during the session. And here is where we get into the criteria that Lambot is running on. So we have Bybit as our exchange. That's currently the only exchange supported. We have the flow strategy, which is the only strategy that we have supported currently. It's running on Bitcoin USD. It can also be Ethereum USD. And the time frame that it's running on is 2 hour. You can also do 4 hour or daily, but 2 hour is the one that we have the best results on. And if you want to see the advanced options, you can look at all these settings through here. If you hover over them, it will give you a brief description of what each one of them is. We highly recommend not messing with any of these because these are the settings that have given us the best results. At some point we would like to have a back tester so you would be able to test out different settings and find out what works best, but for now we highly recommend not changing any of these settings. So I'll go ahead and hide this again. And lastly, we have an action log down here that should show everything that Lambot is doing. And that pretty much covers everything with the UI. So we'll go ahead and start the bot by simply clicking the start button here. And you will see in the action log that it is warming up with a 120-minute series. What that is doing is just getting the candle history so that it can run the strategy properly. And since it's this 2 hour time frame and we have it set as next signal for this to take a trade, it could take it a while for it to signal the next trade. But as soon as the trade is signaled and entered, you will see it pop up down here. Now you can see that after some time it's finally in a position. You can see the date that it was entered and the time. You can see the symbol that was BTC USD. The quantity is negative 238, meaning it is short 238 contracts at an entry price of $38,676.04 with a current P&L of minus $1.12. And since this is still open, we won't have a fee, but as soon as this position closes and a new one is opened, you'll see the fee here. Also, once this position is closed, you'll have a session P&L here that'll show whatever that position closed for, and it'll show the number of trades that have been closed during this session as well. Now, if you would like to close this position at any time, you have a close button here. What this close button will do will just close your position out at market price. And if you want to stop the bot for whatever reason, you can click stop. And since we are in a position, it'll ask us to close the position, and we can simply click close position here. So you can see now that the bot is stopped, the position has been closed, and you can see our session P&L right here, and the number of trades was 1, and you also can see the fees now here as well. So that was a full overview of how you can start, manage positions, and also stop the bot. So that will conclude this video. And if you have any questions, you can always ask in our Discord, on our Twitter, or the contact page on our website by clicking contact, filling out your name and email with a message of what your question is, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you for choosing Lambot, and happy trading.